Alright, I have a Gladiator cast on crit demonstration that I'm going to do right now. I'm not going to say build, I'm just going to demonstrate some of the strengths of the Gladiator and kind of show that if you gear it right, if you have the right items, it makes a pretty good cast on crit character because of the lucky block. On top of that, I wanted to meme out a little bit. I meme, it's what I do. I have a lucky character. Everything I could think of on the top of my head that provides luck something, I tossed on this build. So I have Lori's Lantern, which does damage of enemies hitting you is unlucky while you're at low life. So I am at low life. Enemies hitting me are unlucky. I am a Gladiator, so I have chance to block attack or spell damage is lucky if you blocked recently. So I got some lucky block. I'm also dancing with death. And that means that my critical strike chance is lucky, and the damage I do with those critical strikes is lucky, and enemies damaging me with critical strikes is lucky. So I have like 6 luck layers here. So this is going to be a very, very lucky build. Let me roll my dice and see what I roll. I rolled that I'm a loser. Okay, so let's go ahead and demo this build. Nothing is special. I don't even have the right colors. I'm using Iron Wheel support. This is going to be a ZDPS build to show and demonstrate a little bit of War of Attrition. Most people probably are not getting an effect out of War of Attrition because you're probably killing the bosses faster than 10 seconds, and that means you're only getting, at the very end of the boss battle, 10% more damage. But if you can take 100 seconds to kill a boss, which I assure you I can take 100 seconds to kill a boss, you're getting 100% more damage. This is the most amount of damage that any ascendancy or any build node in this tree. Sorry, I hit my bowl of ramen and it almost spilled everywhere, so it distracted me. But anyways, this is the highest damage ascendancy point that you can get if you can manage to find a way to justify holding still for 100 seconds. And I found a reason to justify holding still for 100 seconds, and that's to make a video. Now, the only reason you would want your damage to be so low that you can engage with a boss for 100 seconds, excluding uber bosses, this is always going to be good for the uber bosses. Only the top echelon of people get enough damage to instantly kill uber bosses, right? Most people are going to benefit on this for uber bosses. But regular T16 map bosses, you're usually going to kill too quickly for this to even benefit. And all the other monsters, you're definitely going to kill too quick to benefit. But the only reason you would want to go ZDPS is to crank up your defenses. If you can crank up your defenses enough to justify the ZDPS, you know, that's the kind of the only reason you would use this on regular mapping, is just to get super tanky. Let's say you really just want to level up. You don't care about loot. You don't care about map clear speed. You just kind of want to chill, not die, play some maps, have a good time. You can do something like this. And again, I am not spec'd for damage. I am just spec'd for convenience. I didn't want to re-roll a bunch of stuff. Like my large cluster jewel, I just hit it until it got 3. I didn't care what 3, so I got this one, which is a good one, and then this one, which is not so good, right? It's I'm not going to enjoy that one very much, and then that one's okay. But anyways, it's not spec'd for damage. I don't have any damage on my jewels, but we will take a look at what it can do. What it can do as a cast on crit build. And to do that, I am going to run a 60% delirious map, because it's going to take even longer for me to kill things with 60% delirious. So that's the main reason I am running that. Now, my chance to block attack damage and spell damage, my attack block is 78%. My spell block is 66, but I get an additional 10 when I'm at max power charges. Right here, boom, an additional 10 at max power charges. And I'm going to be generating max power charges with this amazing shield that just straight up dropped exactly like this, minus the 6 chance spell block. It just dropped, and I've been getting a lot of rares. That dropped for me, that dropped for me, that dropped for me, that dropped for me. I've just been getting a lot of really good rare drops this league, and I don't know why, but keep them coming. I've been picking up more rares and identifying because they've just been so good for me. So let's run it. Let's run it. And I am bleeding. And the good thing about that bleed node is that bleed node is gonna give me, okay, I can't hear myself talk, so let's turn that down a bit. The bleed nodes are gonna give me the ability to have my bleed pops, because I'm hitting with physical damage from Mjolnir, as you see here, right? We got just a little bit of physical damage, but it is enough to make them bleed. And that bleed is going to give them 80% increased critical strike chance against them, and 30% crit multi. And I also have the extra 80, so that's 160% increased chance to critical strike an enemy. Yeah, see, look at that. See that pop? You're able to just kind of group them together. Of course, when it's left with just one guy, no longer grouped together, you don't get a pop. It takes a while to kill that guy, but you hit it with that pop. But the fear of death is pretty low when you're walking around with 75 spell block, 78 attack block, and it's lucky. Am I right? You're gonna feel pretty safe. Now, the one thing you're not safe from, you're definitely not safe from damage over time. Damage over time is a nightmare for this build. I have the Pantheon damage over time node to remove the damage over time, and I got one that removes burning ground. But I also don't have jack diddly shit for life regeneration. Let's see what I got here. 135 life regeneration. That's all I have. So you can easily get more than 135 life regeneration. Hell, you could put on Vitality and get more life regeneration. And in fact, it's probably better that I use Vitality instead of Herald of Ice. But I wanted a little extra poppy pops, because I get pops from bleed pops, and they're a little lonely, right? They're the only pop popping. And then also secondarily, I didn't want to recolor my my shield. It took me a while to get a green, blue on a strength-based shield, and I don't wanna recolor it. So I'm using Herald of Ice. But as you see, I've been fighting this guy for at least 100 seconds. I wasn't paying attention to the damage, but you guys have probably noticed that it ramped up 100%. But we're gonna be here a year if I keep fighting this bro. So I'm not gonna fight him anymore. You understand, I made my point. We'll fight more guys, and we'll let the pops kind of handle it. Just kind of group them up. I'll let these bombs hit me. It ain't gonna do shit. Now, I'm not unkillable. I'm definitely not unkillable. I should probably die once or twice on this map. Because even though it's 78% chance to block essentially twice, which puts me above a 90% chance to block the damage, even with that, a hit will go through. A hit probably is not going to kill me, but a big hit will kill me. Or a hit that has chaos. If it does chaos damage, I'm toast. But most of the time, nothing's going to hit me. And I'm all jacked up on endurance charges. So this almost makes the dog shit damage worth it. Follow me, buddy. Okay, let's pay attention to his life loss. Or lack of life loss. And just watch it slowly tick up. It's ramping. It's getting faster. It's completely stopped. Wait there. Nope, completely stopped again. Hey, follow me. Let's see if we can just go right over here and start this encounter. There we go. And we get some pops on you, maybe. Because I'm not going to spend a week killing that guy. But he is in my presence more now. 100 seconds. Come on. Be a little more aggressive. Be aggressive. Be aggressive. There we go. Let's pop on each other. We need to scoot over a little bit more. I'm not getting enough out of my lightning bolts. Oh, and my skills are scuffed. I'm just using arc and ball lightning of oscillating. There's no planning behind it. I just threw on 2 skills. I don't even think I'm get. Oh, I have a lightning cluster jewel. That's why I chose these 2 skills. In my inventory, I had a 8-socket lightning cluster jewel. So I was like, okay, I'll put that on. Because without that, I would have absolutely no extra lightning damage. This is going to be my next build that I make, probably. But it's not quite... I don't have enough currency to buy all the parts that I need. But I was curious to see if it worked before I bought all the parts that I need. Which is why I have this thing built out. I wanted to see if the defensive layers actually worked. And it seems like they work pretty damn good. Yeah, and this node is completely bait. In my opinion, versatile combatant, just find a way to get spell block. This node here, 1% chance to block spell damage per 5% chance to block attack damage is a great way to get your spell damage. Yeah, just get your spell damage the hard way. Just raw dog it. Because that 10% chance to block, there's plenty of times when you're not on that lucky block. And that means you got a between 65 and 70% chance to block attack and spell damage. And you're gonna get hit. And that hit's gonna suck, because it's gonna kill you. You know it's gonna kill you. I know it's gonna kill you. So versatile combat, bait. And in my opinion, the only time that versatile combat might not be bait is if you're not investing into block at all. Like, you're doing the bare minimum to get into block just to get enough attack block. Or you use the node that some of the damage goes through. And the reason I say that is if you're strong enough to be able to take the hit every now and then, that means you're probably strong enough to take the hit always. And it'd be better just to use grace and evasion and armor. Right? Because the block kind of works like a dodge. So you use evasion and armor. So instead of investing into block, you just invest into evasion. If you're allowed to, you know, take a few good hits. Which you will if you're using versatile combat. And if you're strong enough to take a couple good hits, you're strong enough to take a couple good hits. It doesn't matter how you avoid some of the hits so you can regenerate life, whether that's evasion or block. They're kind of the same thing. But with evasion, you don't need to worry about using a one-hander. If you want to switch to a build that has a two-hander and you use an evasion, you can totally do that. But that's just my take with my limited experience. This is my first block build, by the way. Like a full investment in a block. I've gotten block before, but I've never maxed out block for attacks and for spells and used that as my primary defensive layer. I've used it as a defensive layer, but it's never really been my primary because a lot of hits will go through. But as you see here, not a lot of hits are going through. So far, pretty sure 0 have gone through. I've taken some damage over time, but I don't think any of them have been hits. And the good thing about a build like this, where you're not taking hits and you only really need to worry about big one-shots, is ward is excellent. When you see that 174 ward, that's really 174 life, essentially. I mean, it doesn't get the bonus from increased life percentages, but it is pretty much like 174 life. So when you see 174 ward on a piece of gear, that's an extra 174 ward. I mean life. I'm not going to fight this guy at all, but we are going to tickle him a little bit. Maybe we can make him follow us. Because the point is to demo the damage over time, the damage ramp. Well, I guess it is also to demo the defenses. See, I'll let this guy swing at me for a bit. He kills people all the time. But let's, like, get more this way. Yeah, this guy's brutally dangerous. You know what? Now that I'm running this map, I realized I could have just done a simulacrum. And it probably would have been a better demonstration. There we go. Get out in the open. Yeah, I'm just clowning on him. He can't do shit. There we go. Get more boys up in here. We gotta get you guys like up and like in his grill though, in case you blow up. Okay, we're gonna just leave him be. Get to the boss room. Oh, we can do some handies. Do some handies. So yeah, I think the Gladiator is good for a cast on crit build. I don't know if Mjolnir is the right choice. You might want to use regular cast on crit. But yeah, I think the Gladiator is actually a pretty solid choice for a cast on crit build. It's obviously not going to be the highest damage, right? But it will have really good survivability, as I'm demonstrating here. And I would do a T17, but I'm kind of all out. And I don't want to take a year to do T17. So when I build this for reals, I could do a T17. But this red beast is going to be a great test. Oh yeah, you see that shit ramping. And you hit him with the pops, you get the pops. It's cast on crit with pops. I mean, I legitimately think once you get like a real build creator out there, someone who can who does this for a living, and spend the time to get the right pieces together, do you think you got a solid cast on crit build? But I guess those players will never do that because this isn't going to be the most optimal build. And they're trying to go for build optimization most of the time. But Mathel sometimes does weird builds like this. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, look at this good boss action. Let War of Attrition stack up. Let the lucky block happen. This is how you use a Glad. This is what they had in mind for the Gladiator. I think some people, I've talked to some people that are a little bit disappointed in the Gladiator's kit. And I gotta say, I am not disappointed in the Gladiator's kit. I love the Gladiator's kit. I think it's super awesome. I'm a little disappointed in that one node, but I'm mostly disappointed in that node because Veranostra didn't really get an attack speed buff. Veranostra is basically unusable, or at least it just doesn't feel that good to use because of its attack speed setting and its crit. So Veranostra has dog shit crit and has dog shit attack speed. It's just a dog shit weapon, so it doesn't matter that it counts as every weapon. It's still kind of a dog shit weapon. So Veranostra is actually not even the best node to use that for. It's going to be the Axes, which is going to do increased damage at low life, which isn't even that big of a buff, especially if you consider Culling Strike. But daggers are pretty good too, and so are claws. Claws give you 20% instant leech, and 20% instant leech is really good, because that instant leech, I'm pretty sure, also applies to mana, which is going to keep your mana up. My mana I'm keeping up with gain 6 mana per hit with attacks, and I'm using Cyclone, and I'm using the fast attacking Cyclone. So I'm able to keep my mana tight. Nice and tight. Alright. That was the demonstration I wanted to do. I think cast on crit's going to be fire. And another thing that's really good with this is rocking Tempest Shield, which is giving me 25% chance to block spell damage while holding a motherfucking shield. And that's really nice. I don't even have it leveled up all the way. Anyways, that is the video. What do you guys think? Is the Gladiator a potential class for some good old-fashioned COC?